It was a bright Saturday morning in the small town of Redridge, where sunlight spilled through the glass windows of Marlene's Diner, a place known for its pancakes, black coffee, and friendly smiles. The bell above the door jingled nonstop as customers came and went. Inside, the aroma of sizzling bacon mixed with the chatter of families, truckers, and a group of leather-clad bikers seated in the corner booth. The Hells Angels Redridge chapter. They were rough on the outside, but everyone in town knew they'd rebuilt the local orphanage after the flood 2 years ago. At the far end of the diner worked Samantha Sam Quinn, a 27-year-old waitress who had been on her feet since dawn. Her brown hair was tied into a messy bun, her apron spotted with coffee stains, and her smile, though tired, never faded. She worked double shifts 6 days a week to care for her little brother, Max, a quiet 10-year-old who had been in and out of hospitals since their parents died in a car crash. Every dollar Sam earned was a step toward his next treatment. By noon, the diner was packed. The door swung open again and laughter, the loud, careless kind, echoed across the room. In walked 3 teenagers in designer clothes and sunglasses fresh from the nearby private academy. Among them was Tiffany Langford, 18, blonde, spoiled, and born into wealth that had shielded her from the weight of real life. She was the daughter of Edward Langford, a real estate tycoon who owned half the town. The teens strutted to a booth, pulling out their phones and ordering like royalty. Sam approached politely with her notepad. "Good afternoon. What can I get for you all today?" she asked, her tone gentle but professional. Tiffany smirked. "Do you even know what a lat is?" she said, tossing her handbag on the table. Her friend snickered. Sam kept her composure. "Yes, Mom," she replied softly. "Would you like oat or regular milk?" Tiffany rolled her eyes. "Whatever makes it faster." When Sam returned a few minutes later with their drinks, she gently set the cups down. But as she turned to go, Tiffany whispered something to her friend, then looked up and said loudly, "Hey, waitress, you missed a spot." She pointed to the floor where Sam had accidentally dripped a drop of milk. Sam knelt to wipe it, and that's when it happened. Tiffany leaned back, spat right on the floor beside Sam, and said, "Now clean that too." The diner went silent. Every sound, the clinking of forks, the hum of conversation, froze. Sam's hand trembled as she wiped the floor. Her eyes burned, but she didn't look up. She just wanted to finish her shift and go home. She didn't know that at the far booth, 50 pairs of eyes had just turned her way. 50 Hells Angels who had witnessed every second of what happened. If you believe kindness, respect, and second chances still matter, please take a second right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Let's keep real stories of humanity alive. For a few moments, nothing happened. Then the scraping of chairs broke the silence. One by one, the bikers rose from their seats. Their leader, Hawk Jensen, a 45-year-old man with gray streaks in his beard and tattoos crawling up his arms, set down his coffee mug with deliberate calm. The floor seemed to tremble as the group moved toward the booth where Tiffany sat. Hawk leaned his knuckles on the edge of the table. His deep voice cut through the air. "You think that's funny, kid?" Tiffany froze. Her friend's laughter died instantly. "Excuse me," she stammered, glancing around, suddenly unsure. Hawk's eyes, sharp as razors, didn't blink. "I said, do you think it's funny to spit on someone who's serving you?" People in the diner held their breath. The teenagers exchanged looks, fear creeping in. Tiffany tried to recover her arrogance. "We didn't mean anything by it. She's just a waitress. Just a waitress." Hawk's tone darkened. "That just a waitress works harder in a day than most people do in a month. You don't spit on someone who's feeding you, girl. Not here. Not anywhere." The rest of the Hells Angels stood silently behind him, a wall of leather chains and quiet fury. Tiffany's cheeks turned pale. Her confidence crumbled. Her friends muttered apologies, trying to back out of the booth. Sam stood frozen near the counter, eyes wide, unsure what to do. She didn't want trouble, just peace. "It's okay," she whispered softly. "Please, don't make a scene." Hawk turned toward her, his voice softening. "Darlin', it's already a scene. But it's about time someone drew a line." He pulled a $100 bill from his wallet and placed it on the counter. "For your trouble and your patience." Then he turned to the teenagers again. "You've got 2 choices. Walk out that door and never forget this moment, or sit your fancy selves back down and apologize like decent human beings." The tension in the diner was thick enough to cut. Tiffany's lips trembled. She stood up, her face flushed red, and looked at Sam. I'm sorry, she muttered. Sam nodded quietly, her heart still pounding. It's all right, she said softly, though tears blurred her eyes. The teens left without another word, their laughter long gone. As the door closed behind them, the bikers returned to their seats. Hawk tipped his mug in Sam's direction. Keep your chin up, sweetheart, he said. People like her come and go. People like you keep the world turning. That afternoon, as Sam cleared tables, she noticed something strange. Every single one of the bikers left behind a huge tip. Some slipped $100 bills under coffee cups. One left a note that read, "For Max, stay strong." Sam's breath caught. Somehow they'd known. 2 words spread across Redridge faster than wildfire. By evening, social media was buzzing with photos from customers who'd witnessed what happened. Hell's Angels defend Waitress from rich teen. Read one headline. Tiffany's name was everywhere, her father's company facing backlash overnight. For the next few days, Sam tried to stay out of the spotlight, embarrassed by all the attention. But then one morning, as she walked into the diner, a black motorcycle was parked out front, gleaming chrome, polished leather, and a small white envelope tucked under the handlebars. Inside was a note written in firm handwriting to Sam. "The guys and I talked. You deserve better. Check your mail today." She frowned, confused, and hurried home after her shift. When she opened her mailbox, there was a thick envelope from a medical foundation she'd never heard of. Inside, a letter read, "Dear Miss Quinn, we are pleased to inform you that your brother Max has been approved for full medical sponsorship, covering all treatment costs for the next year, funded anonymously." Sam dropped to her knees on the porch, the letter trembling in her hands. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She knew who was behind it. The Hell's Angels hadn't just defended her dignity. They had changed her life. A week later, the rumble of engines echoed through town again. The Redridge chapter returned to Marlene's diner for their Sunday breakfast. When Hawk walked in, Sam was waiting with a fresh pot of coffee. "You didn't have to do that," she said, her voice shaky with emotion. Hawk shrugged, sipping his drink. "We'll look out for our own," he said. "And after that day, you became one of us, whether you like it or not." She laughed through her tears. "Thank you. You saved more than just my pride. You saved my brother." You smiled faintly. "Then we did something right." From the corner, a small hand tugged at Sam's apron. It was Max, thin but smiling for the first time in months. He looked up at Hawk and whispered, "Mom says you're the heroes with the loud bikes." Hawk chuckled. "Nah, kid. Your sister's the hero. We're just the noise in the background." Everyone laughed, and for the first time in years, the diner felt warm in a different way. Not from the coffee or the sunlight, but from kindness that echoed louder than any engine. 2 months later, Tiffany Langford returned to the diner. But this time she came alone. No makeup, no designer bag. Just a nervous young woman who had learned what shame felt like. She waited until Sam was free, then approached the counter quietly. "I've been volunteering at the shelter," Tiffany said softly, "and I wanted to apologize again. I didn't understand how cruel I was that day. I just wanted you to know. I'm trying to be better." And Sam looked at her for a long moment, then smiled gently. "That means more than you know. We all make mistakes, Tiffany. What matters is what we do after them." Tiffany nodded, her eyes glistening. She turned to leave, but Hawk, seated at the counter, called out, "Hey, kid." She turned, startled. "Keep it up," he said, lifting his coffee. "The world's short on people trying to change." She smiled faintly and walked out, the sunlight catching her face. To that evening, Sam stood outside the diner, watching the sunset melt into the horizon. The sound of motorcycles faded down the road, leaving behind the echo of something powerful, not anger, not revenge, but redemption. Because sometimes the roughest souls carry the kindest hearts, and sometimes the people the world looks down on are the ones who lift it back up.